Mhm.
So how is the business?
Good. I'm starting to have a lot of conversations, and they are going pretty well. I started to
Great.
exchange emails with Will. Thanks for sharing his contact. I had
Okay.
a meeting with Mindy Lee from SB.
Mindy, oh, great with
Yeah.
Mindy. Perfect. Lovely.
And also had a call with called Clarence from Germany, who is very interested on what I'm doing, and like sharing how we can approach the tool for real use
Okay.
cases.
Great, great. Maybe you should contact like a different X-Grid device reseller around the world.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Why not? I
Mhm.
think they have like plenty of people who purchase a portal cam, and
Uh-huh.
maybe they want to have a solution like yours.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm actually doing a plan, a commercial plan to tackle, and
Okay, great.
and I have kind of like an offer for that.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So the idea here is to kind of like show you how to use the features, right?
Yeah. And yes, you told me you made a lot of implementation and new feature.
Mhm.
And yes, I would like to see all of them, but also if you can make a recap of all the feature you already show me last time, because sometimes it's hard for me to find the right tools inside.
Yeah, great, perfect. Let's do that. I'm going to use a car as usual because it's the model I have at hand at the moment that I trust. Okay. I have a lot of new features here, but I'm going to start from scratch, okay?
Okay, sure. But Cesar, you turn off your webcam. I cannot see you.
Sorry, because I'm from my PC, my
Okay,
desktop
so
PC,
yeah.
and this doesn't have a webcam.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Okay. Um, all right. So we this UI is composed in three segments, 3.5 segments. On the top, bar, we have things that
Sorry,
are
Cesar, I don't have your, I don't see your screen.
oh, sorry, let me check that. I think I was sharing already. Can you see my screen?
Just a moment. Now, yes.
Great. Okay, what I was saying that is that we have this UI segmented in three parts. One is the top bar, which contains the essential commands like loading splats, importing as layers, undo and redo, export PLIs, create a snapshot, which is like a picture quick export you do, and controlling the camera speed. If you want to move faster
Mhm.
or move slower, okay? And the background color,
Okay, great.
okay? Then the second layer of the top bar controls if you want to have a selection highlighted. Let's say you perform a selection, but sometimes you want to work inside of that selection, right? And and this blue highlight color is going to annoy you, so you can turn it off. But the selection is still active. It's just that you are not seeing the highlight color. Okay.
Okay.
Then the next switch allows you to to choose between painting inside of the selection
Mhm.
or exclude what is in the selection.
Okay.
So if I try to paint with the brush, let me just increase the size here. Yeah, and with a color. So if I have this selected, this turned on, I will be only able to paint is inside of the selection. Okay. And if
Okay.
I turn it off, what it does is that it will exclude the space inside of the selection. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Include or exclude.
Yeah. To work inside of outside of the selection, basically. Then the next,
Really nice color. Very nice color, huh?
yeah, right. It was random. The next control is a depth control. Right now, there is no visual representation of the depth. It's just something that just works like intuitive. But I am planning to add some sort of a UX to represent that. But if you are in the 100% value and you try to paint, right, you will paint all across the model. But if you decrease that amount of depth, you sorry, let me decrease the size too. You will start to get like uh you see let me just try here.
Yes, you just paint the proxy on
Yeah,
the
exactly.
yeah.
So if I decrease the depth,
Depth.
it will paint, only you look, I'm passing the cursor all around the model and I'm not getting paint because it is painting in this depth that is in the foreground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we have the highlight color for the selections. If I do a selection, I can pick the color I want for that highlight. Because let's say I'm working in a blue car, if I have the selection in the blue color, it will be not noticeable for me where the selection is. So you are able to also change that. Okay. Then the dot color is for the splat, the splat view, and changing the color of the points. That's it. Okay. Then that's basically what you control the top bar. Then every tool has a specific group of values that you need to work to make that tool specific to work. So you have, for example, for the brush, you have the size control, the hardness control, and the intensity of the color, the blending and spacing of the brush. So that's something you can control. In the case of the erasing brush, you have the size, the hardness, the intensity. So basically, as you start moving forward across the tools, every value that controls the tool is going to appear here in the top, in the second layer of the top bar. For example, in the case of the 3D shape layer, right? Here in the top bar, you can pick which kind of shape you want. You can play with the position via, the scale via input parameters and also the rotation.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Okay.
Then also in these kind of tools, you will have a density, which is the amount of splats that you want to introduce once this wireframe is replaced by splats, and the size of each splat. Okay, but I'm going to develop that further as we reach that tool. But it's just like to show you that all the different variables that controls each control are going to appear here in the top part. Okay. So the brush, well, we already saw how it works. Then we have another tool that is similar, which is for erasing, like splats, which is eraser. Then we have the reset brush, which is kind of like doing Control or Command C, but with a brush. So basically, what it does is that it restores the model, wherever you pass it. Okay. Then you have the paint bucket, and for using the paint bucket, it's mandatory that you have an active selection. If I try to paint something with the paint bucket and there is no selection, anything happens. But as I, perform a selection on the model, I can pick a color on the paint bucket. Let's pick now a nice purple. And as I click, it will paint inside of the selection.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Okay. And I can also play with intensity, for example, if I want a more intense color, or change the blending mode as well.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, a lot of parameter.
Yeah. All of those parameters are always expected to be here in the top bar. Okay. Then
Okay.
in the left, we also have the section of the selection tools, which are a good bundle of them. We have the frame selection. Let me just turn on the highlight. So basically what it does is that you perform a 2D frame by dragging and dropping, and it will select everything that is in the range of the depth of that selection, okay?
Mhm.
Then we have the lasso tool, which is kind of like a fit draw selection. It's very precise, but it, depends of the skill, or you have to use the cursor or a paint table to perform selections, okay? Then, as you are using the selection tools, you have this UX that informs you which kind of selection you are performing, because there are three types. You can create a new selection, which means that every time you perform the selection, the existing selection, is free, is deselected, and you get the new selection that you made. Then you have the add to selection, that allows you to just keep adding to the existing selection. And then you have the subtract from, which is just to
Wow.
subtract on that selection that you
Mm.
made. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and there is a good UX that informs you which kind of task you are performing, because you see this line is blue. It means that you are creating new selections, because I noticed that when you are working in long sessions and you are, switching between adding, subtracting, and creating new, you can lose the context, because you are focused on something else. So you don't want to, let's say, select the white part of the card, and then for a mistake, just, lose it or do something you want. So basically, the idea is that every time you see this blue line, or actually the line of the tool is blue, you are
Mhm.
creating a new selection. If it is green, it's because you are adding. You see, now it's green, and it means you are adding.
Okay.
And then if you are
You can add a new selection into the adding you had already.
exactly, exactly, and that's what the green color informs. You see,
Mhm.
and then if you are subtracting, it will be great, red.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Then we have the polygon selection tool, which is very robust. Let's say I want to select this logo here. I will recommend to do it initially with the polygon selection tool. And you can just, start drawing a polygon shape around the matter you want to select, right? But let's say I miss it and created this, and it was a mistake, right? That I made.
Mhm.
I'm always able to get back to the intersection points, and you see as I hover them, I
Mhm.
see a circle, and I can just drag it and drop it
Wow.
where I want
Nice.
it to be.
Genius.
Yeah, it's very satisfactory to use it. I
Wow.
love
Yes.
it. And then as you are ready, to perform the selection, what you should do instead of joining the path is
Mhm.
pressing enter on the keyboard.
And this kind of selection, is it working as well if you want to delete this part of Splat?
Yeah, exactly. Let's say I want to isolate this part of the logo, right? I
Okay.
will switch to be in the red mode, which means I'm subtracting, and I
Mhm.
will start to draw this logo really quick here. I have some
Oh, yeah.
skills because I have to do this so many times already. And you see, and let's
Yeah.
say, oh, but I'm seeing here that I still have some splats selected that I don't want to be selected. What I recommend is switching to the lasso tool and start to perform little, subtracting operations. Sometimes it's matter of just changing the angle,
Mhm.
and try it. You see, now I'm deselecting those specific splats that I want to remove using the lasso tool, and I have a more clean logo selection. You see?
Yeah.
So then another selection tool we have after is the brush selection tool, which is kind of like a brush that performs a selection where you drag and drop, you know, and holds the click. Then we have the color selection, which needs you to define a tolerance threshold. And then if you click, let's say, the black, it will select all the
black color.
all the black splats on the range you just define on the tolerance. Okay.
Okay.
Then you can, you can keep.
So if right now you select the white color, it will it will repaint all the white color on the body car.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly, just like that. And you can mix them because let's say I already added the black here, but I still see that this, let's say, this tiny spot here was not selected because the tolerance was not aimed to it. I can switch to my lasso tool, for example, be sure that I'm adding to the selection and start to try to, polish that selection
Okay.
in case I need. Okay.
Really genius.
Then the next selection tool we have is this, which is called the splat select. And this works better when you are in the splat mode in the rings.
The
Rings, yeah. So let's say sometimes I'm going to change the color of the highlights to blue. And let's say I'm going to deselect. Let's say I want to remove this specific, cyan splat that is here, right? But if I try to select it with the lasso, I'm going to, select many of them. You see? I already selected it, but it's hard for me to isolate it. That's where when you want to use the splat selection tool, which you start clicking somewhere and you start to move until you get that one selected. You see? It's very precise.
That's really great.
And now if I want to get rid of this specific splat, I'm able to just hit delete and remove it. Okay? Because I know sometimes it's hard to, to reach a specific splat that is creating noise. But how do you reach it without messing up the whole model?
I completely understand.
Yeah. Okay. Then one of my favorites, which is a new addition to the workflow, is this 3D selection tool. And I think you are going to love it. Is that you can create, you can select it and pick a shape layer. Okay. Let's pick, let's say, cone, right? And I create this 3D wireframe, right? And what this is going to do is that it will select everything that is inside of the wireframe. As I'm happy with my cone here, let's say I want to select this area specifically here. Yeah. I hit select splats and boom.
Wow.
Okay. So basically, what's the use of this tool? The use of this tool is that you can now delete, for example, all these splats that were inside of the car that are really hard to select, without messing up with the lasso or the polygon tool. So right now, if I change this to be a cube, for example, and I move this inside of my car, and I'm going to change the high color to something that I can see here, is you see the wireframe inside, right? As I start to making it bigger and adjust it to be where I need it to be, say here, and I'm happy with where I have it. I can select and boom, I'm just selecting this splats I'm going to remove. You see? So this allows me to clean up the inside of the car, basically, with this. For this tool, you can also upload custom shapes with on SVG format or also low poly models. but it is a constraint. You cannot like you cannot um like like upload a big model that is too crazy. It's
Okay.
just low poly stuff. Yeah. And next thing is a new addition tool. It is the histogram selection tool. So basically, let me just select this. Okay. Now you have all the color channels here in this drop down. Okay.
Mhm.
And you can, let's say, pick the luma, which means the luminosity channel, right? And I
Mhm.
have to select everything that is white on the base model, right? What I'm going to do is drag until I'm in the range of those whites that I specifically want to select. For
Wow.
example, to turn in, I made a real use case of this tool where I needed to turn these models to black because the black scans didn't work well. And what I did is that I used this tool by selecting most of the painting of the car and then just deselect the parts I didn't wanted to get paint, you know?
Mhm.
And that way I was able to just work the white area of the model with
I
ease.
see how I saw how you select the area, but I don't see how you deselect.
It's because we have these three modes when I'm using the, sorry, where last the tool. We have three modes here. New
Mhm.
selection, which is blue, add to selection, which is green,
Mhm.
and remove selection which is red. And
And how
one,
you?
well,
But
uh-huh.
I didn't saw how you switch because you didn't click on the button.
Oh
You have
yeah,
a switch mode.
that's the great part. Here, and that's a very good question. Here we have a shortcut list.
Okay, I see.
So
Now I
basically,
see.
every tool, every command has a shortcut
Okay.
just for moving fast when you're working on specific things. So
Okay.
basically, if I press L, I'm switching to the lasso tool. If I press R, it's the rectangle. If I press P, it's polygon. If I press C, it is color selection. If I press Y, it is the 3D mesh selection tool. And if I
Mhm.
press U, I'm in the histogram tool.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. It's for being fast while working on this. Because I think the focus is that we have a good experience that allows people to really work, in real life with this.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the histogram selection tool. We also, I can, if I turn on the keep, no matter if I change the channel, it will keep the selection. But if I turn it off as I switch, it will start from over, the selection. And let's say another use case of this tool is I want to select only the reds, right? The
Yeah.
red
Yes.
features of the car. I can go to the red channel, and start to play with this until I start to see that what I need is getting selected, you see?
Wow.
But I'm sure that all this red thing is not completely red splats. Probably they have magenta
Mhm.
splats too. So I switch to the magenta channel. Sorry, I have to click on keep. Yes. So I'm going to select the red.
You can
The red
combine magenta and red.
keep. Yeah. And then I switch to magenta and start to select the magenta splats. You see? And I have everything that is red selected.
And then
Here,
you
yeah,
switch to color and you can add a new color to the red selection.
exactly. What the only thing I need to be sure is that I turn on the keep switch
Okay.
here. Okay.
And don't forget to save.
Yeah, exactly. Then next tool we have is the 3D shape layer, which kind of like works like the 3D selection tool. When you click it, sorry, let me just remove the selection. When you click it, you will see that you can pick a shape. You can upload your custom one or just pick a basic one. Let's get a cone or a pyramid this time. And as you click somewhere in this in the model and drag, you start to create the wireframe. You can um, you can keep editing it until you want it where you have it where you want it, and you can rotate it until it has the right orientation, and you can also play with the scale. You can also edit that via inputs here on the top bar. Okay. And then you have to pick the density, which is the amount of splats it is going to generate. And remember that if you have more splats, you are adding weight to the file, right? But to compensate that, you can also pick the splat size, which is the size of each individual splat.
Yeah.
So let's say I want to have a model that seems dense, but I don't want to add too much weight, right? What I will recommend to do is keeping this low as 100, 100 something, and just increase the splat size. Okay, you have to pick a color. Let's take now a nice green. And as you are happy with this, you can just splat it, and you get your wireframe transformed into a splat model
Okay.
that you can
Okay.
work with. The
Perfect.
difference between a like dense model with a low splat size is that it's going to be sharper. If I create this one, it is I create I think a 100K splat model, but you can see this is sharper than this.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to remove these layers, and we have the same but for text now. You can pick a typography from Google Fonts. Oh, sorry, typing here.
Oh, yes, you made a lot of improvement.
And now you can type a word here. You can play with the instruction. Let's say I want this to be low. It's there, yeah. And I want this to maybe be more horizontal. And then I can just split it. And we have our text on the splats.
So then, if you export all the car and the text into 3D.js, you will have one fusion between these two splats.
Yeah, I can show you. I'm just saving this model here now. What was the name? I think it was this one, maybe. Let me open.
So imagine you can add text on the body car.
Sorry, what?
You can add text on the body car.
Yeah, you can. Actually, I just exported this one with the text. You are going to see it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It seems funny. Like a vandalized car. Okay. And then we have the splat mode, which allows you to switch between points and rings, just like Super Splat.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what we see on the top and left bar. But now we have another big component, which is the right sidebar. Okay. So basically, what we have in the right panel is 3 tabs. Okay. We have, well, first we have layers for sure. And this allows us to play with them just like Photoshop or any Adobe tool. You can play with the opacity of the model of the layer. You can duplicate it. You can merge.
Can we import inside your tools to 2 different 3D.js and make a fusion?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It will be loaded as a new layer.
Okay.
Basically. You can also pick a selection. Sorry, pick a selection and create a new layer by separating that part of the base layer. Okay. And you can create new empty layers as well. Then the next thing we have is the first tab, which is scene. And here what we have is the input to control parametrically the model. Okay. So there I was playing with the position. Then I have the rotation and the scale. Okay. Then in that part, we also have a render box, which is a clipping render box that we can use to isolate parts of the current splat. I think we reached a bug here. It's not showing. Let me just see what happened. Okay. I think we reached a bug because as we play with the transform inputs, the rendering box was not able to perform. But now you see, right? We just have a clipping box that we can play with. We can pick between it being a box or an sphere.
Okay.
Okay. And if I want to control it, I need to activate the gizmo icon that I have here to make sure that the gizmo is editing the clipping box and not the actual model. Okay. And then every time the gizmo that you are seeing in the screen is not editing the layer you have selected, the UX is going to turn into this orange color. Okay.
Okay. Can you copy it and add it to your second layer?
Sorry, can you repeat that one?
I mean, right now you are working on one layer. But if you want to add exactly the same sphere on the second layer, can you add it as well? Or you have to do it manually?
Yeah, no, you won't be able to use exactly the same clipping mask. You have to just do it from scratch.
Okay.
But you have parameters. So if you copy, the same parameters, it will be kind of like the same thing.
And how you copy the parameter? You can copy like in Play Canvas, like you can copy all the line, or you have to copy each one of them.
Right now, you need to copy each of them. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's an interesting use case, like just copying it as a preset or something like that. Okay. Next thing we have is the button to apply the render box, which means that it will, render the model and apply the clipping box to it. Then we have selection, safe selection panel, which is that if, let's say I have this part selected here, and I want to keep working something else that will need a selection. I can come here and just click this add Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my Photoshop. We lose the nice model we were working.
No problem. Can we play with the relighting as well, or is just for color?
It's just for color at the moment. I'm planning to add some relighting tools, but I'm still like, studying the approach so we can have something that is nice to use, but at the same time is useful in this context,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here. Okay, I was telling you that if I perform a selection, right, in a layer, let's say this one, let me just maybe switch to a cleaner face of it. Okay, if I perform a selection and I want to save that selection, I can come here and hit save selection, name it, and just save it. Okay. So let's say I keep working more stuff, I keep, performing a different selection here and there, but I then need to get back to that selection I already made once. If I click on that selection layer, it will load my previous selection that I saved. Okay. This is very useful when you are, experimenting a lot with different things at the same time. And you can also export and import the selections. Let's say I'm going to save this model, but in the future, I want to get back and work on this model, and I don't want to use those because I'm going to just finish this session. I can import the selection file that I exported from this in the footer sessions. Okay.
So that is great for you when you are working on a car and you want to add different car colors. You can import
Exactly.
selection.
Exactly. Just like that. That was exactly the use case why I added it. Then another thing we have is the camera bookmarks, because let's say I'm painting on these faces of the car, but I need to double check that the depth I'm using or anything I'm doing is affecting this side of the car, right? So if I add those camera bookmarks that I can also name, I will be able to switch between them real quick. So I will be able to, like come here, paint, and see how that is getting is affecting the model inside. So don't mess anything, Then we have the second tab, which is a powerful tab of this panel, which is the color tool. And basically, what we have here is the option to add to change the color space. Also, we can load LUT files. If you have like a LUT, let me just download one. I think I already downloaded one, but I don't know where I have it. Sorry. Just, okay, let's say I used to have a folder for that. Here. Let's say I have these LUT files here, right? So if I import one of them, it will affect the color to match that color LUT. You see?
Wow.
Take another one here. You see? It just changed how the color is performing. And I can play with the strength of it.
It's really complete.
Then I can keep working, the exposure, the contrast, the black point, the white point, the saturation. the temperature, the tint. This is for color calibration. Then I can keep adding colors in split tones. So let's say I need to add some red to the shadows. I can, define the hue and the saturation on the wheel. Then here I have the luminosity of the color, and then I have the strength of the addition. Okay, and this is very cool when you still need to do some color correction. I have used it actually creating the blacks for the black version of the cars. You see, and now here I'm only affecting a specific channel of the color curve.
Understand.
Then here on the bottom we have the color, the color channels, hue, saturation, and luminance, which means that if I need to change specific color, let's say the reds, right? I can do it here. Let's say I want that red to be more green. I can just move, the channel the channels that affect those splats, and I can, work that color specifically.
If I
And
want
I have,
to have, if I want to have a specific color, can I import the color code inside?
yes, actually you are able to export this as a preset, and just load it further as you need.
Okay.
Okay, you can hide and show, like the changes, and before you export the model, you need to be sure that you bake it to the model.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you have to bake it.
And another thing this tool has is that it can only affect a specific selection. If I turn on this one, the color correction I'm making is only to be applied to that specific region that is selected. You see, this helps a lot. Actually, that's how I turned the white car into a black car, and don't lose the specularity of the model. Then the last tab is the swatches. So let's say I'm using, the brush, and I need to copy a color. I can just come here, select the specific color I'm looking for, this white, and keep using it.
Oh, yeah.
And then if I need to select it further, I can, switch between them. It's going to be applied to the color of the brush.
Okay.
So now I need to pick this purple here. Oh, sorry, it works only on the base, in the base mode. Let's say I want to pick this green here. Boom. You see? Then the last thing we have is the floating panel for the commands. And this is just to inform which command is active to the user. For example, in the gizmo, if we want to turn off or on the gizmo, we can use G, or just click here. Because sometimes when you need some adjustments, it is like just disturbing, So you don't want to see the gizmo the whole time. So you can show it and hide it here. And the 3 first commands is to show you that the gizmo is transforming the position, the rotation, or the scale. Okay. And the shortcuts for them is 1, 2, or 3. So you can easily iterate between them.
Okay.
Then we have world and local coordinates for models. You can switch here or using J as a shortcut. Then we have the grid that we can turn on and off. And we have the selected bundle, which is that as you hover the model, it will show you the box that it occupies. And if you have many models, let me just duplicate this one to show you that. As I have 2 layers, if I hover the one that is selected, it will show as yellow. And if I hover the one that is not selected, it's going to show blue. And as I click it, it switch, to select the layer, one of the other layer. Then we have the reset camera, which is going to send the camera to the beginning of the word. Then the other command is to frame the current, layer that you have selected to the viewport here. And then you can switch between orbit mode for the camera and fly mode, which is kind of like a pan view. And for moving across the word canvas, is you can use WSD. I don't remember, it's not going to work on your keyboard, and that's something I'm trying to still figure out, because that's something that I found very important to fix. But right now, in a nutshell, these are all the features we have added to it.
Okay. And Cesar, if I want to import, like, I don't mean like huge, but like heavy 3D.js, did you improve did you improve that or not yet?
Yeah, actually, I have this version that I haven't released yet, but this is a standalone app that is running outside of the web browser. It is a PWA app, so it's still like a web-based app, but it allows us to load bigger models. Let me just show you. And the whole weekend I spent a lot of time trying it out, and I think there is going to be a constraint because Play Canvas is a web-based tool, and when you are working on a web-based app, you have some constraints of how much of the work you can transfer to the GPU of the machine. So it is being sub-used, but I optimized a lot, so it's kind of like easy to work some splats here. So I was playing with this. This is a 6 million splats model that the weight is 427 megabytes. It takes some time, to load because it's heavy. But the experience is still a little bit slow. I would like it to be more slow, But I made a test, and I was working a wall of this model that is it has an artifact, and I was able to fix it. I can show you the result.
Why do you prefer we stay like in a web app than a local app?
Well, I'm planning to do a huge refactor to have a more, like standalone GPU driving app, but that's a hard approach. You have to. I mean, it's the advantage of this is that Play Canvas is already like managing a lot of the performance, But for this kind of use cases, I'm sure that I'm going to need to do that for sure. Let me just turn this 90 degrees. And let's say I need to go inside. This is something nice that I need to teach you. I need to go inside of this, but I'm in the fly camera mode, and this camera moves slow to be precise, okay? But if I switch to the orbit mode, it will move faster automatically, and I can reach a point where I'm close to be inside of it, switch to the fly camera, and start to navigating it slowly, okay? And this was the wall. I fixed it. I removed all this artifact.
Yeah, I remember.
Exactly.
You made a hole in the wall, and you fix it with a plan.
With a plan, yeah, exactly. I did it with this and another model I have that has the same problem in a room, and it's working pretty well. But you see, if I try to do a selection here, it's a bit slow because it has to calculate the selection, but at the same time check all the splats of the model. And that's a bottleneck, basically, that is not being able to be transferred to the GPU completely. Yes, it's mostly CPU work. But I think it's doable anyway. It's slow. There is still room to enhancing it, but at least you can do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Because
And
most
one
people,
thing I'm also recommending is to maybe cut the model, bring the area you need to work it, and then merge it in another session.
okay.
Mhm.
But if you merge it, sometimes it's not look like beautiful to merge two splat together.
Yeah, that's something I'm working actually
Okay.
to have like a base model, work the instance, and then like send back the amount of splats with addition.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great, Cesar. Great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge improvement and really nice tools. You really seems like a like an architect.
Thank you. I really, like want to help people to have a deep usage of their splat models.
So you will have a partnership maybe with XGrid.
I'm looking for that. Yeah.
Great.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can get this to be part of their ecosystem. We are
Wow.
opening still the conversation. It's in the early days,
Okay.
but I'm hoping that